You know what keeps me up at night sometimes?
Oh boy. Is it the caffeine again?
No, it's not the caffeine this time. And it's not the existential dread of the universe ending either.
Well, that's a relief.
Right. But no, it is the absolute sheer inefficiency of modern dating.
Inefficiency. That is a very unromantic way to start a romance discussion.
I know. But seriously, think about it. Think about the hours, the days, the literal years of our lives we spend swiping left, swiping right.
Decoding text messages.
Yes. Analyzing emojis, trying to figure out if a thumbs up means they agree or if they're just, being passive-aggressive.
It's exhausting.
It really is. We go on these dates that cost $50 and 3 hours of our lives, only to realize within the first 10 minutes that we have fundamentally different views on, I don't know, whether pineapple belongs on pizza.
It absolutely does not, by the way.
See? Deal breaker right there. We wouldn't make it past appetizers.
Fair enough.
But my point is, the error rate in human dating is just massive. We are guessing.
Trial and error. Mostly error.
Exactly. We are essentially throwing darts in the dark, blindfolded, spinning around, and just hoping we hit happily ever after. So here's the hook for today, and I want you, the listener, to really visualize this with us. Imagine if you didn't have to guess.
Just bypass the whole process.
Right. Imagine a world where that agonizing uncertainty is just gone.
You're talking about a guarantee.
I'm talking about a biological certainty. Imagine you could walk into a clinic, spit into a vial, mail it off to a high-tech lab, and a few weeks later get a notification on your phone that says, hey, we found him. We found your soulmate.
It's a wild thought.
And it isn't just a guess based on your daily horoscope or your mutual love of hiking. It is a mathematical, genetic certainty.
It sounds a bit like the premise of a dystopian sci-fi show before everything goes horribly wrong, doesn't it?
It totally does.
But it is also this deeply alluring fantasy. The idea that science could cut through the noise of human emotion, bypass the awkward small talk, and give us an objective answer to the most subjective question of our lives.
Who am I supposed to be with?
Exactly.
And that is the exact world we are stepping into today. We are doing a deep dive into the romance novel, The Soulmate Equation, by Christina Lauren.
A fantastic read.
It really is. Now, if you know romance, you know Christina Lauren. They are an absolute powerhouse. They're the team behind massive hits like The Unhoneymooners and In a Holidays.
And just a quick note for those who might not know, Christina Lauren is actually two people.
Yes, that's right.
Christina Hobbs and Lauren Billings. They're best friends who write together.
Which is adorable in itself. I love that dynamic. But this book hits a little differently than their other stuff, I think.
I agree.
It's got the romance, sure, and the banter is top tier, but it's wrapped up in this really fascinating layer of data, genetics, and the age-old battle between what your brain tells you and what your heart feels.
What I appreciate about this particular source material is that it takes that high-concept, sci-fi premise, DNA-based matchmaking and grounds it in very real, very methy human emotions.
So messy.
It asks a mission-critical question for our discussion today. Can love truly be quantified? Can you put attraction into an algorithm and get a perfect result?
Or, to put it another way, if a computer tells you that you are 98% compatible with someone you absolutely cannot stand, do you trust the computer? Or do you trust your gut?
Because that is exactly the situation our main character, Jess Davis, finds herself in.
It creates the perfect storm for our deep dive. On one hand, you have the enemies to lovers trope, which is a classic for a very good reason.
Oh, absolutely.
But on the other hand, you have this ethical and scientific exploration of the DN duo algorithm. It's a story about a single mom who is a statistician, so she obviously loves numbers, and a grumpy geneticist who basically invented the love formula.
A statistician and the geneticist. It's the nerdiest, most wonderful setup imaginable.
It really is. So let's unpack this. We need to meet our variables, so to speak. Let's start with Jess Davis.
Jessica Davis is such a compelling protagonist because she is defined by her pragmatism. She is a freelance statistician, which tells you immediately how her brain works.
She lives in the data.
She does. She finds comfort in numbers. In a chaotic world, she likes things that have a clear answer. She counts steps, she counts windows and buildings. She likes data because data doesn't lie.
Unlike people.
Precisely, unlike people. To really understand Jess, you have to look at her data set, specifically her history of abandonment.
Which is pretty heavy.
Her background is rough. Her mother struggled with severe addiction and essentially chose drugs over her daughter, leaving Jess to be raised by her grandparents.
That's a huge foundational trauma.
It is. and it sets a precedent for how she views relationships. Then, the father of her child, a guy named Alec, left before their daughter Juno was even born.
Just packed his bags and bailed.
Right. So, Jess has learned the hard way through repeated trials that people are variables you simply cannot control.
And because of that, she has built this incredibly tight, controlled world for herself. She lives in this quirky apartment complex called Harley Hall.
Which sounds amazing, by the way.
I know, I want to live there. It's painted green and has pink and purple tiles. It's very bohemian. But the best part is that her grandparents, Nana Joe and Pops, live right next door in a bungalow.
That village aspect is crucial to her character. Jess isn't just a single mom operating in a vacuum. She is the center of a multi-generational support system.
She's holding it all together?
She is protecting Juno, her 7-year-old daughter, and she's looking out for her aging grandparents. There is absolutely no room in that equation for chaos.
And let's be honest, dating is pure chaos.
It is. And Jess finds it exhausting. She has effectively removed herself from the dating market entirely.
She has that great line where she talks about how her sexiest outfit is an old Buffy the Vampire Slayer shirt and cutoffs.
I love that detail.
She's just done with trying to impress guys who just want a casual hookup. She believes in data over romance, because romance has failed her, but numbers never have.
She wants reliability. She wants a guarantee. Which brings us to the other variable in this equation. The man she and her best friend Fizzy call Americano.
Enter the grumpy variable.
Yes. So, before she knows who he really is, Jess and Fizzy, who we absolutely have to talk about later, because she is the chaotic good to Jess's lawful neutral car, they observe this guy daily.
Right, because they see him every morning at Twig's, their local coffee shop. He is a total creature of habit.
Down to the minute.
He comes in at exactly 8:24 a.m., orders an Americano, and never smiles.
He is the anti-charm. Jess describes him as having the vibe of a, wait, how did she put it? A socially constipated medieval art professor.
Which is a surprisingly specific and devastating insult.
It's poetic, really.
But basically, he's sullen, he's silent, and he seems incredibly rude. He sits there, drinks his coffee, stares at his laptop, and ignores everyone. To Jess, he represents everything she dislikes: arrogance, aloofness, and a complete lack of basic social grace.
But, as is often the case in these stories, perception is not reality. This Americano is actually Dr. River Peña, the founder of a biotech company called GeneticAlly.
He's not just some corporate suit.
Far from it. He's a brilliant geneticist who has spent years trying to crack the code of human compatibility.
And the clash happens right there in the coffee shop. This is our inciting incident. Jess hears a rumor from the barista that he's a matchmaker, and she confronts him.
She's expecting him to be some cheesy, sleazy dating coach.
Exactly. But he corrects her. He says, very coldly, technically, I'm a geneticist.
And that interaction really sets the tone for their relationship. He calls her average during a later meeting, which we'll definitely get to, but even in the coffee shop, he's dismissive.
He's focused on his phone. He's rushing out the door.
He leaves a terrible impression. So we have our two variables perfectly set up. Jess, who trusts data but distrusts men, and River, who trusts data and, well, seems to distrust human interaction entirely.
It's the classic grumpy sunshine dynamic, except Jess isn't exactly sunshine. She's more like realistic overcast.
That's a perfect way to describe her.
So how do these two disasters end up connected? It all comes down to the algorithm, GeneticAlly, and the DNA duo test. And this isn't just a questionnaire asking, do you both like long walks on the beach? This is hard science, supposedly.
The book goes into some really fascinating detail here. The DNA duo isn't a horoscope. It's a test that combines findings from over 3,500 genes.
3,500?
Right. River and his mentor, David Morris, didn't just want to predict initial attraction, which is biological lust, largely based on the major histocompatibility complex.
The MHE.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They wanted to go beyond that. They wanted to correlate genes with long-term, sustained happiness.
They wanted to find the literal soulmate gene sequence. They wanted to predict not just who you want to sleep with, but who you want to wake up with for the next 50 years.
And they have this whole tier system for the results, which I think is a brilliant narrative device.
It creates a clear hierarchy of compatibility. Walk us through the tiers.
At the bottom, you have the base match. This is what most random pairings are, scores between roughly 7 and 24.
The roll of the dice.
Just average people meeting on the street.
Yeah.
Then you move up to silver matches and gold matches.
And gold is where you start seeing real potential for long-term success, right?
Correct. Then you have platinum, which is scores from 66 to 80. But the holy grail, The thing everyone dreams of are the scores over 80. A score between 80 and 90 is titanium.
And above 90.
Diamond. A diamond match is extremely rare. We're talking statistical unicorn territory.
It implies a compatibility so deep, so biologically hardwired, that failure is almost impossible.
So Fizzy, Jess's best friend, who's a romance novelist, by the way, which adds a great meta layer to the story, Fizzy gifts Jess a DNA kit.
Jess spits in the vial, mostly on a whim after a terrible day where she lost a major freelance client and just felt particularly lonely and defeated.
She sends it off expecting absolutely nothing.
She forgets about it, really, until she gets a notification. Jess is client number 144326, and she has matched with client number 0000001.
Number 1, the founder.
River Peña himself. And the score isn't just high, it's a 98%.
98. That is dangerously close to 100. It is the highest score GeneticAlly has ever recorded.
And this is where the soulmate equation really kicks into high gear, because logically, to Jess, this makes absolutely no sense. She dislikes River. River has been nothing but cold and dismissive to her.
When they find out, Jess's reaction is pure denial. She literally says, "Surely you jest."
And River's reaction, it's not excitement, it's dread.
That's such a key character moment for River. He's a scientist. He understands bell curves and outliers. He fears that a score that high breaks the model entirely.
He's worried it's too good to be true.
He's worried that such high biological compatibility might actually result in low emotional compatibility, like a horseshoe effect. If they are too alike or too perfectly matched on a cellular level, maybe it just implodes in real life.
Or maybe he's just terrified that his soulmate is the woman who yelled at him in a coffee shop.
Also a very real possibility.
But the company, GeneticAlly, they see this entirely differently. They don't see dread, they see dollar signs.
We have to remember the business context here. GeneticAlly is a startup. They are right on the verge of launching their IPO, their initial public offering.
The stakes are astronomical.
They need buzz. They need a compelling narrative that proves this technology works to the general public and to investors. And what better story than the reclusive, genius founder finding his own diamond match right before the launch?
It's marketing gold. Founder finds true love using his own product. But there's a massive problem. The happy couple hates each other.
Minor detail.
Right. So the board, specifically David, River's mentor, and Brandon, the slick marketing guy, they come up with a proposal.
It's an indecent proposal, strictly for science and marketing, of course.
Yeah.
They asked Jess to essentially get to know River, to date him publicly leading up to the IPO.
And they aren't asking her to do it out of the goodness of her heart.
No. They know Jess is struggling. She's a freelancer, she has a young child, she supports her grandparents. The bills are constantly piling up, her car is making funny noises, and she can't afford to fix it.
So they offer her money. GeneticAlly offers her $30,000.
30 grand.
Yeah.
That is life-changing money for someone in Jess's position. It's security. It's ballet classes for Juno. Without stressing over the fee, it's fixing the car, it's breathing room.
Exactly. So her motivation is purely pragmatic. It's survival. River's motivation, however, is very different. He doesn't need the money.
He wants to prove his science is right. He needs to know if the 98% is real or if his life's work is somehow fundamentally flawed.
So they agree, but Jess has strict stipulations. She is a mama bear through and through. No pressure for sex, no pressure for marriage, and most importantly, Juno is completely off limits to the press.
She is protecting her cub at all costs.
And River agrees to those terms. So the experiment begins, the hypothesis. Can a 98% biological match overcome a 100% personality dislike?
This is a fun part of the book, the fake dating phase. They have to sell this romance to the public, and that means actually spending time together. And slowly, the Americano facade starts to crack.
It starts with a photo shoot at Shelter Island. They're standing there stiff as boards, trying to look like soulmates for a major magazine profile.
And River realizes it's just not working. The camera's picking up all their attention, so he leans in and whispers something to her.
Project be genuine, but cautious.
That phrase changes everything for them. It's an admission that this is weird and awkward, but it's an invitation to actually try. And suddenly the physical attraction, which was always sort of simmering under the surface annoyance, becomes undeniable.
Jess realizes that up close, he smells incredible.
That's the MHC working. The biology is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
But the emotional connection needs to catch up to the physical one.
Yeah.
And we start to see these little quiet moments where they actually connect on a very human level. One of my favorites is the tattoo scene.
Oh, yes. River notices Jess has a tattoo on her wrist that says, "Thunder only happens."
A misspelled Fleetwood Mac lyric from the song Dreams. It should be thunder.
Right. Spelled Thunner.
Huh?
And instead of mocking her for it, which the old Americana would have done, it humanizes her to him.
He realizes she's not just this rigid, numbers-obsessed statistician. She has a history of bad decisions and fun stories, just like anyone else.
There's another pivotal moment at a cocktail party. This is a very high-stress environment for Jess. She's surrounded by wealthy, elite investors feeling completely out of place in her thrift store outfit.
She feels totally inadequate, and she makes a self-deprecating joke to River about having baggage.
She's talking about her mom's addiction, her ex abandoning her constant financial struggles.
And River steps up in a big way. He looks at her and tells her she doesn't have baggage. He says she has circumstances that she chose to navigate.
He reframes her entire life, her single motherhood, her dedication to her grandparents. He doesn't see it as a burden, but as a series of incredibly strong, deliberate choices.
That is the moment, I think, where the audience and Jess really starts to fall for him. He sees her agency, he respects her struggle, and we also start to see that River isn't actually rude, he's just socially anxious.
He's shy, he's overworked, he's not a snob, he's just bone-tired.
And he's funny. They meet an elderly couple, the Fuchses, who are also a diamond match, and River and the old man start cracking these terrible, nerdy science jokes.
Oh, the joke. What is the fastest way to determine the sex of a chromosome?
Pull down its genes.
It's awful. I love it. But it serves a purpose. It shows that River and Jess speak the exact same language. They are both absolute nerds at heart. They both view the world through systems and data.
The 98% starts to look less like a glitch and more like a highly accurate prediction.
And then we peel back the layer on River's personal life. Jess meets his sisters, Natalia and Pilar.
This is vital for his character development.
We learn that River was raised largely by his grandmother. He loves telenovelas, which perfectly explains his dramatic flair and his initial feeling of dread, and that he secretly envies Jess's village.
He is a profoundly lonely man who has buried himself in his lab work because he didn't have a Harley Hall of his own to go home to.
So the fake dating stops feeling fake. The lines blur entirely. They start falling for each other. Real feelings, real intimacy. They sleep together. And River admits he hasn't felt home in years, but he feels home with her.
And Jess, the ultimate skeptic, the woman who only trusts numbers, has a massive epiphany. She starts to trust the 98%. She thinks, okay, the data was right. We are compatible. This feeling is validated by the science.
It's the perfect happy ending setup.
Which means everything is about to go horribly wrong.
The twist. And in a book entirely about data, the twist appropriately comes in the form of a spreadsheet.
Jess is in David's office. David is River's mentor and business partner. She's waiting for him, and being a naturally curious person, she starts looking at the papers on his desk. She finds the raw data sheets for the DNA and duo tests.
She finds her own data. She sees the number 98. But then she sees another file for another diamond couple, maybe the Fuchses, or another high-scoring pair who scored a 93.
And here is where being a statistician is an absolute superpower. Jess notices something weird. The timestamps on the tests are identical.
Which is a statistical impossibility. Two completely separate tests run on different samples should not finish computing at the exact same microsecond.
She digs deeper. She compares the columns of numbers, and she realizes the data for her and River is identical to the other couple's data.
Except for a few very specific small tweaks. Someone took a 93% match, which, to be clear, is still a diamond, still incredible, and manually altered a few numbers to pump it up to a 98%.
They cooked the books.
They manipulated the data. They turned a great match into a miracle match for the sake of marketing.
And Jess is devastated, but not just because the number is fake. She feels betrayed because she immediately thinks River was in on it.
She assumes that River, the man who needed to prove his science, needed that 98 to believe in them. She thinks their entire relationship is built on a lie that he orchestrated. She thinks he manipulated her into bed with a fake number.
She confronts him, and this scene is just heartbreaking. She basically accuses him of massive scientific fraud. And River. He is completely blindsided.
He had no idea. David and Brandon, the other partners, did this completely behind his back to ensure the IPO's success. River is innocent of the fraud, but the damage is done.
And his reaction is really complicated. He doesn't just get mad and fight for her right then and there. He shuts down completely. He feels humiliated.
Think about it from his perspective. He's a world-class geneticist. His partners didn't just lie to the public, they lied to him.
Yeah.
They didn't trust his science enough to let it stand on its own merits.
They thought he needed a fake number to find love.
He feels duped as a scientist and as a man. His entire reality is shattered in that moment.
So he ghosts her for 8 days.
Which, to be fair to Jess, is a terrible move on his part.
It's the worst move. Jess is heartbroken, sitting at home, assuming the worst, while River is spiraling, locking himself away and analyzing data for days to see if the entire company is a fraud.
He needs to verify the absolute integrity of his life's work. He eventually finds out that the company is solid, the algorithm works, it was just their specific score that was tweaked by the marketing team. But that silence creates a massive rift.
Jess is left thinking he only ever wanted her because of the number on the paper.
So we reach the climax of the story. River finally comes out of his data cave. He shows up at the coffee shop looking totally wrecked, and he has an envelope in his hand.
This is the pivotal choice. The envelope contains their actual recalculated score, the real number. Not the 93 from the other couple, but their true independent compatibility score.
He hands an envelope to Fizzy, containing her results with the guy she was seeing, but he tells Jess he didn't run their true sample again.
Wait, I thought he said he didn't run it.
Let's look closely at the text. He tells her, "I love you because I love you, whether or not I'm supposed to." He has the opportunity to know the exact number, but he chooses not to. Or rather, he realizes that knowing the number is completely irrelevant now.
That is so powerful. He's saying, I don't care if we're a base match or a diamond match, I choose you.
Exactly. It's the triumph of free will over biological determinism. The soulmate equation isn't 98%, it's the active choice to show up for the other person day after day.
And they reconcile, thank goodness.
Right.
River embraces her chaotic life. He embraces the grandparents, the village, and most importantly, he embraces Juno.
The epilogue is really sweet. It shows Juno's science fair sometime later. River is there, fully integrated into the family. It implies that while biology might have given them a nudge, the spark, the actual work of love, is what kept them together.
And Jess learns to trust again. She learns that just because some variables change, it doesn't mean the whole equation is broken.
So what does this all mean for us? For you listening at home?
Well, first of all, it means I'm never looking at a mail-in DNA test the same way again.
That's fair.
But I think the main takeaway is about the true nature of romance. Even in a sci-fi, data-driven story, it all comes down to the old-school stuff. Humor, vulnerability, shared values.
And the book strongly argues that data can be a useful tool, but it cannot be the master of your fate. River learns to look up from the microscope. Jess learns to look past the spreadsheet.
It's the baggage versus circumstances idea again. You can look at your life as a series of errors or as a unique data set that leads you exactly to where you need to be.
Which leads us to a provocative thought to leave you with today. If GeneticAlly existed right now, if you could spit in a vial and know, with mathematical certainty, who your soulmate is, would you do it?
Oh, that is the question. And even simpler, would you want to know the score of the person you're already with?
If you scored a 24, a base match, would you break up with your partner of 5 years? Or is ignorance bliss when it comes to the mathematics of love?
I think I'm with River on this one. I choose not to know. I choose the mystery and the work.
A very romantic choice from a host who usually loves data.
Hey, I contain multitudes.
And that's it for our deep dive into the soulmate equation by Christina Lauren. Go read it, swoon over River Peña, and maybe, just maybe, look up from your phone the next time you're getting your morning coffee. You never know who you might run into.
Until next time, keep analyzing.